Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to now invite our next keynote speaker, Neeraj Garg, Chief Executive Officer of Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverages Private Limited. So, Neeraj, I'm so amazed to see HCCB's growth in India, and you are close to now in excess of 9,789 crores. The last time we checked your revenues, annual revenues, and an ecosystem of 30 lakh retailers, 3,500 distributors, and 2.5 lakh farmers. That is incredible, Neeraj. Uh, you also employ 6,500 people directly and manufacture the portfolio in more than 60 products across 15 factories spread across the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, over to Neeraj, one of the most experienced executives in India currently, but with over 3 decades of international experience around the world, here with us today to share a little bit on Coca-Cola, diversity and inclusion, and his own journey. Neeraj, over to you. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, Anthony, and thank you for House of Rose for inviting me to be part of this really amazing day. And I want to also start by acknowledging the kind words you said about the Coca-Cola company. And I think you were very right in saying that, the organization becoming more gender diverse doesn't happen by accident. It really takes leadership at the top, starting from, our chairman, Mr. James Quincy, to leaders around the world to really believe in it and take actions that make a difference. And today I'd like to share a few of those actions and work that we've accomplished at HCCB in India. And really happy to be here today. Next slide, please. So if we reflect back over the last couple of years, the conversation during the times of the pandemic shifted really to the well-being of the overall community and people, and also how do we really manage safety, and a lot of other important priorities which were there for people or gender agenda really had to be put on pause. And with two harsh COVID waves, we were expecting D&I ratio of corporates was to go down. But what really happened is that at HCCB, we truly remained resilient and affirmed on our agenda for diversity and made sure that we continued to believe in diversity and inclusion matters. And with this, what really worked for us is that we did not see the kind of job attrition that some companies saw during the COVID. Next slide, please. What I believe truly worked is that we were able to take actions that truly connected to our people and keeping them at the center of everything that we did. So we were a company that did not do any pay cuts during COVID. We actually maintained our annual benefit increase cycles and actually did not lose any people with that. And we've talked a lot about how people have got into a flexi work culture, working from anywhere. We tried to support people at home with technology. We launched an AI bot, which was able to answer questions for them around all HR issues, around IT issues, as well as gave them a lot of support on health, telemedicine, as well as keeping a track of their own health and their family health, which allowed us to understand where interventions were required. Of course, we did things which a lot of people did, which is around, topping up insurance, providing easy access to hospitals. And the actions that we did were not limited to our own people, but were also with the community. So providing oxygen concentrators, being instrumental in setting up oxygen plants, providing medicines, and of course our beverages to both frontline workers and hospitals. All this, I think, resonated well with our own people and also allowed us to engage with the community. In Kerala, we had a factory at Plachimada, which we offered to the Kerala government to set up a COVID care center, and that was in place for almost a year. And in addition to that, we ran a lot of social media awareness programs, as well as ran vaccination camps for both our people and our communities. And I think this is what kept the people engaged with us and ensured that we did not see the kind of attrition that could be seen in other parts of the industry. Next slide, please. Of course, we've heard a lot today in the earlier panels about flexi working and about adapting process to new ways of working. At HCCB, we were not behind on that. We were able to modify our processes which allowed associates to work safely from home and remain productive. We were able to maintain our focus on creating awareness around tapping into talent pools with people like disabilities and LGBTQ. And now we are doing some work around how do we start tapping the pool of veterans and retirees to really bring some experiences that we are looking for back into our ecosystem. Next slide, please. So all these learnings that we collected, we've been trying to implement them to ensure that we create a foundation for a sustainable future. We heard a lot about flexi work culture as well. But the big thing I think for all of us was that it burst the myth of that productivity can only be found at the office. We now have what we call a flexi work policy, which allows associates to work from anywhere that they like, from home or from any city that they feel comfortable with. And that allows us to get the best efficiency and for our associates to be productive. What is extremely important at these times is really need to be thinking of the office space on how do you drive collaboration in this networked organization, which is no longer at one location, but is actually spread across the country. And we've been looking at redesigning the office to really become an excellent tool, not only to create the network, but also to drive the message of D&I. So simple things. Our new office space that is going to be inaugurated in a week's time in Bangalore has gender neutral washrooms that we did probably have earlier. We've removed all steps from the office to make it easy for people with disabilities to work in that environment. We are not allocating desks to people, but they're more like hotspots as well as collaboration spaces, which really drives a message that coming to office is not mandatory. But if you are here, then collaboration and networking is critical, and you need to spend investing time against that. We've launched our diversity and inclusion handbook, and this is not just about gender diversity, but truly about making the world inclusive and working with all talent pools across the landscape. We continue to look at our policies and making sure even the smallest item does not go overlooked. For example, for our associates that are nursing a child, it allows them to now travel with a caregiver and the child at company's expense. Similarly, for women who are working in the field and they are using a two-wheeler, during pregnancy, they're allowed to actually hire a four-wheeler and travel with that to make sure of their own personal safety. Gender pay comparison is something that we do at regular intervals to make sure that we do not have any gaps. And I'm really proud to say at HCCB, we have gender pay parity. So all these small steps make truly a big difference in making sure that we are able to drive a gender diverse and an inclusive environment and retain our talent as well. Next slide, please. Of course, technology has been a trusted friend in this journey. We've been using AI intelligence, something like Skillet, for hiring people, as well as we've got a bot called Amber, which is now helping us engage with our employees. This allows them a confidential way of sharing their feedback, their feelings, their recommendations, and continues to create a strong connection with the organization without having any fear of any redressal of anybody coming back against them. Of course, learning on the go is critical, and digital learning and development to upskill and reskill is a big part of the work we do. One of the things that we're really proud of at HCCB is implementing technology at the shop floor to encourage both men and women to work without the need for heavy lifting. Our first plant at Sanand, which has a 40% women workforce, is a fully digitally enabled plant. And it was not just about putting technology on the shop floor. It was creating that ecosystem and environment even with the community around. Our managers that did a lot of outreach programs with the panchayat and the candidates themselves to make them motivated to come and work in the plant. The good news is we've continued this journey. Our second plant, which we inaugurated last year, a brand new site at Raniganj in Siliguri, now has a 60% gender diverse ratio. 60% of the employees are women. And working with the local government, we've even got permission to run 3 shifts with women, which I think is a big achievement for us. So there's a lot of work that we are doing and making sure that these initiatives continue to encourage women to come in and take the equation of gender out of the formula. Next slide, please. So, like I said, we've talked about Sanand, we've talked about Raniganj, the vertical factory we've just announced, and we've just announced a new partnership with the government of Telangana last month, where we are collaborating for community skill building, where we expect a lot of women from the community to get employment enabled. A lot of people have some education, but they don't have the requisite skills to find a job. And we are partnering with the government and with NIT to make sure we're able to provide that kind of skill building to make them employable. This factory also we've announced, our aspiration is to have more than 50% of the workforce as women. Now, what is really good in all these places that we are doing this work and what gives us assurance that we are on the right path, that we are now seeing a number of our peer factories in the neighborhood like trying to employ the women working for us. That clearly shows we are doing the right thing, and we're now creating an environment where women are moving into jobs that were traditionally held by men in more and more sectors. And this really gives us a lot of pride. Next slide, please. It's not just enough to work internally with our own people in making sure that we have a diverse and inclusive culture. We need to continue to partner with our ecosystem to have a larger impact. Our philosophy is to really leave things better than when we first inherited. I talked about the fact that we are partnering with NIT Foundation to set up career development centers where we are making sure that the female candidates are getting job enabled, they are employable. The skills they have can actually be targeted towards the job available in the sector. We're partnering with local authorities and panchayats to set up skill building programs and self-help groups. We're really working on encouraging digital learning by implementing smart classrooms for children at the HCCB model villages. So for us, truly, the motto is that we need to clearly be a beacon of raising the bar, of creating a pathway for everyone, people within HCCB and the communities that we serve, to continue down this journey of being self-inclusive, of being inclusive and diverse, and to continually try to challenge ourselves to raise the bar over here. I think I would like to hear a little bit about this from the people that we work with. So can we go to the next slide and play the video, please?
When I joined in HCCB and particularly to this Kanchan Kanya plant, I saw so many female employees working over here, and I'm feeling myself so special that I'm leading 17 of female fresher employees over here.
I like very special in HCCB that it does not only consider about the machine maintenance, efficiency and workload, it also considered on the mental health of the employees. So we did some fun activities during the lockdown period to continue to keep on engage our employees, and also we do several cultural events and programs whenever we get the possible things.
HCCBಯಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಅನ್ಸೋದು ಅವಕಾಶ ಮತ್ತು ಸಮಾನತೆ.
நல்ல ஒரு சப்போர்ட்டிவ் மென் அண்ட் விமன் அண்ட் அப்படின்ற ஒரு ஈக்குவல் இது இல்லாமல் போத் ஆர் ஈக்குவல்ன்ற ஃபார்மில் தான் ஒர்க் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருக்கோம்.
இந்துஸ்தான் கோகோகோலா கம்பெனியை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் மற்ற கம்பெனி கம்பேர் பண்ணும்போது நம்மளுக்கு வந்து நிறைய ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி கொடுக்குறாங்க, நிறைய மோட்டிவேஷன் கொடுக்குறாங்க. அதே மாதிரி நம்ம ஹார்ட் ஒர்க் ஏற்ற மாதிரி salary increments, bonus எல்லாமே கொடுக்குறாங்க.
In my early days, one of the leader has really trusted my abilities to handle those situations, which has inculcated the confidence for a lifetime and has really taught me to be the leader without a title. And it is only because of that what I am today. fearless.
ಹಿಂದೂಸ್ತಾನ್ ಕೋಕಾಕೋಲಾ ಬೆವರೇಜಸ್ ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಮತ್ತು NIT ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಆಪರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಸಿಕ್ತು. ಅದೇನಂತ ಅಂದರೆ ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ನ ಅತಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಬೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. ನಾನು ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆದೆ. ಸೊ ನನಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಟ್ರೈನಿನ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು. ಇದರಿಂದ ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು, ಸೊ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ವೆಬ್ಸೈಟ್ನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಒಂದು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನಲ್ನ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಕಲಿತಾ ಹೋದೆ. ಇದರಿಂದ ನನಗೆ ಅರ್ನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯಿತು.
HCCB ಇಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಆಯಿತು. ಅವರು ನಮಗೆ ವೋಟು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟವ್ ಕೊಡಿಸಿದ್ರು, ಪತ್ರೆ ಕೊಡಿಸಿದ್ರು. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನೂ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿದ್ದಾಮ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು.
HCCB ಯೂನಿಕ್ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವಿಚಾರ ನಾನು ತುಂಬ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳಿಗೆ ಯಾವತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲೂ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳನ್ನ ಮುಂದೆ ಬಿಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಟೈಮಿಗೆ ಬರೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಲೇಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ HCCB ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ವಿಮೆನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಅವ್ರು ಮುಂದೆ ಬರೋಕ್ಕೆ ರೆಡಿ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಖಂಡಿತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಥರದ ಸಪೋರ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಈ ವಿಚಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು HCCBನ ಯೂನಿಕ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ.
ಸೊ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಪ್ರಾಬಬಲಿ 2.5 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೈತರು ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ HCCB. ಸೊ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ಗೆ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮ HCCB ಬಂದು ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಅಷ್ಟು ಜನ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ಸ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಪ್ಯಾಂಡಮಿಕ್ ಸಿಚುಯೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ಗೂ ಬೇರೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದರೂ ಕೂಡ ವರ್ಕ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಯಾವುದೇ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಲಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನೇನು ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅದನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆ HCCB.
माझ्यासारख्या लोकांना अशीच मदत मिळावी ही माझी इच्छा आहे. धन्यवाद.
So thank you, Anthony, for the opportunity. Like our ex-chairman said, we believe that we can only create a sustainable business if the communities we partner remain sustainable, the communities we serve remain sustainable. So all our efforts are towards that. Thank you.
Neeraj, thank you so much, not just for your sharing today, but for your consistent leadership and partnership with House of Rose Professional and Break the Ceiling, Touch the Sky.